The sinking of the Titanic in 1912 left an indelible mark on the world. Images of the grand ship split in two remain etched in our collective memory. Yet just 3 years later, a disaster closer to home claimed even more lives on American soil. The Eastland disaster, a tragedy largely forgotten, offers a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of vigilance in the face of preventable accidents. On July 24, 1915, the SS Eastland, a passenger ship docked in the Chicago River, capsized, taking with it over 800 souls. Most of the victims were working-class families, many of them women and children, eagerly anticipating a day of celebration across Lake Michigan. Their dreams were shattered in an instant, transforming a festive summer day into one of unimaginable sorrow. The Eastland disaster serves as a stark reminder that tragedies can strike anywhere, anytime. It compels us to examine the past, learn from its mistakes, and strive to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. The SS Eastland, built in 1903, was never intended to be a symbol of tragedy. Originally commissioned as a passenger and package freighter, she primarily served routes on the Great Lakes, connecting communities and transporting goods. The Eastland, with her sleek design and modern amenities, was a popular choice for excursions and day trips. She represented a bridge between bustling cities and idyllic vacation spots, promising leisure and relaxation to countless travelers. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary vessel lay a critical flaw, a design instability that would ultimately lead to disaster. The Eastland, top-heavy and prone to listing, carried the seeds of her own destruction. Despite concerns raised about her stability, the Eastland continued to operate, her fatal flaw largely ignored. The stage was set for a catastrophe waiting to happen. The morning of July 24, 1915, dawned bright and promising in Chicago. The air buzzed with anticipation as thousands of workers, dressed in their finest attire, gathered at the city's docks. They were employees of the Western Electric Company, excited about their annual company picnic, a cherished tradition, promising a day of fun, food, and camaraderie. Families, their faces alight with joy, boarded the 5 chartered ships, including the Eastland, eager to escape the summer heat and enjoy the cool breezes of Michigan City. Children darted about, their laughter echoing across the crowded decks, oblivious to the impending doom. The atmosphere crackled with festive energy, a collective sense of excitement permeating the air. Little did anyone know that within minutes this joyous scene would transform into a nightmare, forever etching July 24th in the annals of history as a day of unimaginable loss. As the Eastland took on her human cargo, a sense of unease began to settle over the ship. The vessel, already listing slightly to port, became increasingly unstable with the movement of passengers above deck. Worried crew members attempted to compensate by shifting ballast, but their efforts proved futile. At approximately 7:10 a.m., with a sickening lurch, the Eastland began to tilt dramatically. Panic gripped the crowd as the once festive atmosphere dissolved into screams of terror. People were tossed about like rag dolls, their desperate cries swallowed by the roar of the river. Within minutes, the unthinkable occurred. The Eastland rolled completely onto her side, trapping hundreds beneath the surface. The Speed Queen of the Great Lakes, as she was once known, now lay on her side, a tomb for the hundreds entombed within her steel hull. Voices from the depths. Survivors recount the horror. Emerging from the depths, survivors recounted harrowing tales of survival. Many spoke of the deafening roar of rushing water, the agonizing crush of bodies, and the desperate struggle for air in the darkness. One survivor, a young woman named Catherine Walcott, recalled the moment the ship capsized. It was like a horrifying dream. One minute we were laughing and dancing, the next we were fighting for our lives. Another survivor, George Maley, described the chaotic scene below deck. People were piled on top of each other, screaming, praying. The air was thick with the smell of oil and the stench of death. Their stories, fragments of memory etched in trauma, painted a vivid picture of the terror and despair that unfolded within the sinking vessel. A frantic search for life amidst unthinkable loss. News of the disaster spread like wildfire, drawing thousands to the riverbanks. A frantic search for survivors ensued, with rescuers, including police, firefighters and civilians, working tirelessly to pull bodies from the wreckage. Makeshift morgues were set up in nearby buildings, the air thick with the smell of disinfectant and the sound of weeping. Families, their faces etched with grief, desperately searched for loved ones among the rows of victims. The final death toll reached a staggering 844, making the Eastland disaster the deadliest shipwreck in Great Lakes history. The city of Chicago, cloaked in mourning, reeled from the magnitude of the tragedy. Justice and accountability, the aftermath of a preventable disaster. In the wake of the disaster, a wave of anger and outrage swept the nation. How could a ship, docked and loading passengers, simply roll over? Investigations revealed a series of contributing factors, including the Eastland's inherent instability, overloading, and lax safety regulations. A grand jury indicted the ship's owners and officers, but no criminal convictions were ever handed down. Civil lawsuits resulted in minimal settlements, leaving many families feeling that justice had been denied. The Eastland disaster exposed glaring inadequacies in maritime safety standards. It served as a catalyst for long overdue reforms, forever changing the face of ship design and passenger safety regulations. The legacy of the Eastland, a turning point for maritime safety. The Eastland disaster, though largely overshadowed by the Titanic, had a profound impact on maritime safety regulations. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the United States Congress passed legislation requiring all passenger ships to undergo stability testing, carry sufficient lifeboats, and adhere to stricter loading regulations. The disaster also led to the establishment of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, an international treaty designed to improve safety standards and prevent similar tragedies. SOLAS regulations, still in effect today, cover a wide range of maritime safety issues, from ship design and construction to fire safety and life-saving appliances. The Eastland's legacy, though rooted in tragedy, serves as a stark reminder of the importance of learning from the past. It underscores the need for constant vigilance, rigorous safety standards, and a commitment to protecting human life at sea. A wound that time cannot heal. The Eastland disaster, a tragedy etched in the heart of Chicago, continues to resonate more than a century later. The memory of those lost, their lives cut tragically short, serves as a solemn reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of preventing future tragedies. Today, memorials stand as testaments to the victims, ensuring that their stories are not forgotten. The Eastland disaster, though a painful chapter in American history, reminds us of the importance of vigilance, accountability, and the enduring human spirit in the face of unimaginable loss.